Hello and welcome to today's episode of the Power of Your Mind podcast. This is episode 233. We're talking about what if you manifest something bad. I'm hypnotist Jim Kellner, and I am co-hosting once again for my friend, my colleague, Victoria Gallagher. As you surely know, Victoria Gallagher is the law of attraction hypnotist. She's also the #1 best-selling author of The Practical Law of Attraction. Align yourself with the manifesting conditions and successfully attract your desires. She's also the founder of HipTalk.com and HypnoCloud apps, maybe a new name shortly, which gives you access to over 500 hypnosis recordings right in the palm of your hand. So be sure to download that app from the app stores. Without further ado, Victoria Gallagher.
Hey, Jim, how are you? It's so funny. As soon as, well, actually, I should wait for you to answer. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks.
Good to see you.
You too.
As soon as you said manifest something bad, it was like I told you my stomach is grumbling and growling.
Right. Yeah.
And it just started growling right when you said that, like almost like in sync with it. Almost like, imagine saying something and then like thunder and lightning comes.
Right.
Anyway, that's kind of how it was. So yeah. Anyway, welcome to today's podcast. Oh, it's speaking to the whole app thing, whether it's a new name or, I'm just going to really, really quickly tell people, because probably a lot of people that are listening to this do have my HypnoCloud app. And if the new one has come out under the new name, which I will reveal soon.
Yeah.
If that has come out, you know what all along we were going to release this as an update to HypnoCloud.
Yeah.
And that is no longer the case.
Excuse me.
Bless you.
Thank you.
So there will actually still continue to be HypnoCloud, and there will be the new app. And ultimately, we're just going to provide a lot of beneficial reasons for people to move over to the new app from HypnoCloud, and then eventually HypnoCloud will cease to be, but this is how we're doing it. And so it's going to be a brand new app. It will not recognize who you are if you've subscribed to the old app. There's just a lot of reasons that we ended up having to do it this way. And it kind of sucks, and it's kind of good at the same time. And it's just one of those like bad manifestations, I guess. But there's really no such thing, I guess, as bad. I mean, there's bad and good, I guess, to everything if you really look. And I think there's some silver linings in this, but yeah, it was kind of unfortunate to discover, but I think it's actually, in a way, it might actually turn out to be even better situation.
Good deal. Remember, Shakespeare said, "There is no good or bad, that thinking makes it so."
Yes, I love that quote. Absolutely love that quote. So true.
I remember at one time I was teaching a class and had a perfect example. The guy, we were talking about this, and some people have a trouble wrapping their mind around it. But what about this and what about that? And this guy goes, I got laid off from my job, and I thought it was the end of the world. But then I found out that I actually could retire now. And he goes, "It was the best thing ever." So.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much that happened to me, not that I retired, but every time that I back in the days when I had jobs working for people, I always like something good that would have never happened. I would have never had the awareness to see something always good came out of that bad situation.
Yeah. So it's not always bad. But hey,
Yeah.
we are talking about what if, because I mean, there are a lot of people out there that are, especially now. I think the folks that listen frequently and they're familiar with law of attraction, and maybe they've read the book. I'm sure they've got a pretty good guess. But for folks that are new to it, I mean, can we really manifest something bad?
There's not like a really clear cut answer to this, because thinking of law of attraction in terms of, an energy or a vibration or a frequency, whatever you're putting out there, if you're putting out negative energy, then more than likely you're going to be receiving back negative experiences. And that's the thing, is like, even those of us who know all of this stuff, have been practicing all of this stuff, have been teaching all of this stuff, you know even we put out negative energy sometimes, and we get back the thing that is in response to that negative energy. So yes, you can manifest things that you don't like. I'm just going to say it like that. Bad is sort of a, we were just talking, like there's not really any such thing necessarily as bad or good. It's just, is it what you wanted or is it what you didn't want? And a
Right.
lot of
Yeah.
times we end up manifesting things that we don't want. And it's because of, we're not lined up with those things, or we're lined up with the thing that we're manifesting instead.
Yeah, and I think you mentioned that even those of us that practice this and that kind of thing can still send out the, I guess, the negative vibes or something. And I catch myself just the other night. I got back to my friend's house and I was like, oh, you know what? I was there in a negative space for a bit. I was kind of throwing out some negative vibes and everything. And I think the difference is that you learn to catch it. You don't just keep going and you go, oh, maybe I need to work on that next time. And maybe next time I catch myself.
Yeah, it's interesting. I have been recently, I've been kind of in the listening to somebody who's kind of starting to become a little bit of a mentor. She didn't know it because she didn't even know who I am, but
Uh-huh.
I've been just listening to a lot of Amanda Francis, and
Hmm.
I found this podcast. She's, like this money queen, manifesting queen, and I've been just, listening, and even she, said, I mean, it's like nothing. I mean, this woman's like pretty close to, like an eight-figure earner, and she's also a author, and got a huge following, and just all the things. That's her thing. She's always talking about all the things. But it's just really interesting because she's kind of at a point where I would like to see myself, and so I've been just like really in her vibe. But she said, like, she is still always having to she still has to do the work. It's just an ongoing basis. You're just always forever going to have to do the work and remind yourself, and you make mistakes.
Hmm.
And so many of us who teach this stuff, I think, really put a lot of pressure, to like appear to have it all together. Well, nobody has it all together. Nobody. Nobody. One of my
You-
AirPods just died. Hopefully this one will stay intact for the rest of this podcast.
That's good.
I guess that's what you have when you've been in a meeting for like almost 4 hours now
Right.
on Zoom. Anyway.
You know what? One of the things I love about working with you, Victoria, is that you're always, even though, I mean, there's a lot of people out there that you are their Amanda Fraser, right? I mean, you are the guru, the person that they're wanting to be more like, and you still have goals for yourself, and you're still trying to do better. And you're doing. I know you just told me about a seminar that you're taking, and you're always constantly trying to better yourself. It's really awesome to see.
Thank you. Thank you. I mean, yeah, I don't think of myself as ever. I don't know if there will ever be a time where you're going to look at yourself in the mirror and you're going to be able to say, I've made it.
Right.
That's what we're all looking for. And it was, going back to my landmark days, that was one of the things that they told us. And it was, it was really, it doesn't matter where you end up. If you end up having everything that you ever hope for, if you're alive on this earth, you're as a human, it's our natural growth and expansion is our natural behavior. It's like we're always going to be growing and expanding if we're alive, um and wanting to be all that we can be. Well, if right now I think, oh, I've made it,
Yeah.
then now the only thing that can happen is that I'm going to start retreating and going backward, because if you're not
Mm,
growing, you're
yeah.
dying.
When you were talking about that, it reminded me of exercise. You take the world's greatest athlete and they don't just get to that level and stop, right? Or they start to
Exactly.
decline. Yeah, they go backwards. Yeah,
Ex-
it's a really good
yeah.
point. Yeah.
I mean, and you have to at least maintain.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you have to at least, and I think even in order to maintain, especially when you get to a certain level, like when you get to a certain level athletically, it actually requires a lot more work
Hmm.
to maintain that level.
Yeah.
um and I think it's the same thing once you get to, if you've decided that this is the level you want to be at with a relationship, this is the level you want to be at with money, this is a relationship you want to be at with impact, this is a relationship you want to be at with health, whatever it is. um how The higher you go, the more work it is to maintain it.
Yeah. Such an interesting thing. What do you think we should do if we do end up manifesting something bad though?
Well, I think the very first thing is just kind of to I think it really comes down to the awareness. Number one, I
Mhm.
think awareness is so key when it comes to what am I manifesting, and you have to take responsibility for what you're bringing into this life. And I want to share a little bit of a vulnerable story. Now,
Mm,
this story could turn into an hour podcast. So I'm going to try to give you the
mm,
the bullets on this. But over the weekend, so as you know, right now, as we're recording this, I'm still very much into app development. And so we're supposed to be about 6 weeks from releasing this app to the public. But I have to stop doing
mm.
that. I have to stop doing that.
You have to be optimistic. You have to pretend you're a developer. You're just
Right?
as optimistic as the developers. Or is it
Exactly.
naive? Or is it naive? I don't
E Either way,
know.
so I kinda had a little bit of a
Mm.
meltdown on
Oh,
Saturday, after getting this most recent build and also reading the most recent emails and comments on the Trello board by my developers, which really made me realize how out of touch my point of contact, who was making the comments on the Trello board, really was. And so I kind of started going off and
mm,
really down talking this whole thing. And so then I go out for my hike at like 1:20 in the afternoon that day, after I had told myself that I was going to go around 9:30. And so I decided during this hike to kind of have a little bit of a level with myself. And I said, I'm so distraught all the time because the level of integrity that these people have with me, is like almost nothing. And but I always have integrity with them. I always do my part. I always get things done for everybody. Every single person on this planet knows Victoria as having a very high level of integrity and always doing exactly what I say I'm going to do. And that is um, with them. But when it comes to myself, and getting out from behind my desk and going and taking a hike at the time that I said that I was going to do that, or checking off all the boxes on my to-do list that I said that I was going to do that day, my integrity with myself has really been waning.
Mm,
And I kind of took a look at that, and I kind of realized that that's having integrity with other people and not having it with myself and doing the things that are important to me is really like having no integrity at all. And it's because there's really no difference between how I treat myself and how I treat other people. And the other thing too is like when I talk down about them, whether it's to their face, whether it's in an email, whether it's on a comment that I'm a little sarcastic or snippy about, or whether it's in my own head and the names that I might come up with and things like that. Well, whatever you are saying out and projecting out there about other people, you are also projecting that you're also saying that at the same time to yourself, because it's all the same energy. We are all This is
yeah.
why the whole law of attraction works, is because it's all the same energy. And so every time I say that they're never going to have this app done on time, everything that they say it's going to take a week ends up taking a month. Okay, so that's, yes, based on my past experience, but what if I wiped the slate clean and forgived and showed some forgiveness and some grace about that, and be the person that I want to be when it comes to that? What if I could manifest that what if they actually did get it done
Hmm.
in 6 weeks? Like, why am I just automatically, and of course, we do a lot of these things because we're trying to prevent ourselves from, we're trying to set the realistic expectations. We're trying to prevent ourselves from the pain of having to, you know, deal with something that we hoped for that didn't actually happen, and all of that. But still, what I realized, and just kind of a very long story short, is that the bad stuff, like the bad stuff, meaning like this horrible build that I just got, that makes me feel
Hmm.
like things, aren't really progressing the way that they should, or these horrible comments that I got, not horrible, but these completely out of touch, out of sync comments that, like, well, this has been completed. No, it hasn't, kind of
Mm,
thing.
yeah.
I am generating that.
Mm,
That is coming from me, because
yeah.
that is what I think.
Right.
That is what I feel. And that is what I'm putting out there. And
Mm,
so when it comes to these bad things manifesting, and I'm not talking about like catastrophic things. Like
yeah.
we're just talking about, I don't want to get into like, like all the horrible things that, these are just, your everyday mundane things that you don't like.
Yeah.
Getting into the catastrophic things, that's like on a whole different conversation. What I'm talking about is just like, why does this keep happening to me? Why do I keep manifesting, the same relationship with developers? Well, that's because that's the energy that I hold for them.
Yeah.
And I realized I'm generating that because of my lack of integrity in myself it creates a place for the space for somebody else to um to be able to do that. Like, you only allow people to treat you slightly better than you treat yourself.
Mm,
Like, you will only tolerate if they start treating you at the level that you treat yourself or below,
mhm.
you will be done with them. And so I only so the it's just a reflection of, and what if I had the belief and the faith
Yeah.
and the strength to just allow myself to stop looking at this evidence that proves that, this is all screwed up, and look at what I want.
Because I bet there's a lot. I bet there's a lot in there that you do want that's good, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, there's a
That's a good
lot.
point. Yeah.
There's a lot. Um, and so that's what I, like I said, I'm still a work in progress. And I got to school myself over this last weekend and like realize like, wow, and it's a good thing. It's empowering to realize like, okay, if you can own it and own that like I had something to do with this, then this is a good thing
Yeah.
because now I don't have to worry about changing that anything on the outside. All I have to worry about is changing me.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. And so I mean, it sounds like, you know, um, if we're out there and we're going to try to prevent this in the future, because I mean, I've done the same thing, and if you and I have commiserated about these same topics, right, together.
Yes.
Like, well, I hate
Yes.
this about my app, and I hate this about mine, and my developers are doing this, and my, you know, and so if we were gonna, we would, I guess we'd want to focus on the positive stuff that's going on, right, and I mean, you can't live in a world where, I mean, you still have to address those things, right? You have to bring it up to your developer and say, hey, this needs to be fixed,
Yeah.
but kind of, can you kind of explain the difference there? Like, and this is, we're talking about apps, but this is really true for anybody, I mean, anything, right? You manifest the wrong job, the wrong person, and we're, I'm trying to avoid saying the bad because, but that kind of is the way we look at it, is the bad things. Just, but when we say bad, it's really just the thing you didn't really want,
Yeah,
right? So if you're listening out
exactly.
there, if we say bad, it just means, because again, I mean, there's no good or bad, but sorry, I'm all mixed up. So can you kind of tell us the difference between, really focusing on what we want, but still being mindful of the things that we want changed?
Yeah, that's a really, really good question because that was exactly what I was like. You can't just ignore
Yeah.
what is being presented to you, and so, what I realized is that um, no, you can't ignore it, but how you react to it is what's generating the future.
Oh yeah,
So
that's right. Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? So I have to stop the process now because what I'm dealing with right now, and it's probably gonna, I don't know how long it takes to incubate into the new way that I'm being right now, but how it is today, what I'm being presented today is based on how I reacted to this thing weeks ago and the way I have programmed myself and them, even through my own words. Like and I'm just gonna put it out there that there are people who do the work and there are people who like don't have this same level of awareness. Okay. And probably most of the people in the development community are not working on their manifestations and their law
Right.
of attraction
Right.
and really doing the self-awareness introspective work on what we're doing to improve ourselves. Now maybe they are, maybe they're not, but this is something that I'm just going to say the person who has the most awareness
Yeah.
is more responsible for what they're creating, because like now I'm aware that I create my reality. It's not up to them to change, it's up to me to change this relationship and this vibe and this energy and it's like a leadership exercise in a way. It's like they're
Mm,
taking direction from me, not just at a conscious level, but
right.
how I'm speaking to them, and that's coming from my yeah, that,
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
how I'm speaking to them, and saying, like, "Oh, this isn't right," and blah, 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 uh, in it's infecting, the whole process, and that's what I've decided about it, is like, I'm the one that's infecting the process. They could just have the skills, but for whatever reason, they can't do it any other way because I my energy is stronger and more powerful, and because my energy is sitting in frustration, disbelief, doubt, and uncertainty and disbelief and all of that, that somehow is getting, in filtering the process. So how do you stop that? um is you have to learn to redirect your energy, and you have to learn to take your emotions out of it. I mean, your negative emotions. It's because the
Yeah.
negative emotions are what's creating more negativity. And that's where the self-control and the self-discipline and the keeping your word with yourself, and being the change that you want to see in the world. I mean, just like Gandhi said, be the change that you want to see in the world. Well, what is the change that I want to see, and how can I be that? Well, the change that I want to see is, I really do want them, when they have these milestones. I mean, obviously, like, I don't want them to fail, but there's like this part of me is like just expecting them to fail. And so
Mm,
I have to change that, because when they fail, I fail in the end.
right. Yeah. It should be a cooperative thing, and it's kind of making an adversarial kind of a thing.
And I kind of realized that it's like, duh, it was like such a no-brainer when I kind of realized that, like, I'm setting them up to fail because, like, well, week after week after week, they've given me no reason to believe any different. But that you can't keep functioning based on the past. You can only
Yeah.
learn from your mistakes, and you have to realize that, like, okay, well, what can I do to to create the results that I want? And I have to put more energy into what it is that I want, so that I can attract what I want, rather than continuing to harbor annoyance and disappointment and frustration and doubt. You have to catch yourself. Oh my god, oh my god, here I am, I'm doing it again. No, 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 you gotta it's like you're walking a dog, and the dog keeps sniffing this and sniffing that and going off, and it's like, no, if you want to walk your dog, you've got to, like, teach them how to walk forward. It's your thoughts. It's a constant meditation. That, I guess, that's really what it kind of comes down to. It's like a constant it's a you're in a constant meditation. Um, when you're in a meditation and your thoughts start going off, and you need to bring your thoughts back to the mantra, well, what is the mantra? What is the mantra in your life? What do you want that to be? Well, the app is getting completed on time. That's what I really want. And it's going to be beautiful, and it's going to be smooth functioning, and it's going to be amazing. And truth be told, I've probably spent more time, you know, um, talking about what I don't want, what's happening, than I
Yeah.
have been talking about how beautiful and amazing and work, well functioning this app is. And it just kind of occurred to me that day, it just all kind of came to a head. I had a really rough night's sleep. I've never had this happen. I've never had worry and angst to the point that actually gave me a stomach ache. I mean, like, had no,
Mm,
bathroom issues or anything like that going on. I literally just had angst in my stomach over this. And I realized, like, in order to change this, I I have to change. I'm leading this. I'm the leader. I'm the one with the money. I'm the, this is my project.
Right.
And so if I want it done right, I've got to own it. I've got to change me. And it was a huge epiphany.
I am so glad that we're talking about this today. I mean, it really is just hitting home for me because I actually had one of those days. The last some messages from our team. I was just crestfallen. I mean, I really honestly I felt like crying. I was so upset. Like I was just I couldn't. I'm like I can't believe this is what's going on right now. And it was very and it was and it did. I felt that adversarial thing. It's me against them, and my business partner and I were just talking about all the bad stuff, and we try to bring ourselves back to the good. Well, at least we've got this. Yeah, but and uh and it's not making anything any better, right? It's not making anything any better.
Exactly. And it's like, would you rather be right
Yeah.
or happy? And I mean, I'm talking to myself as much as I'm talking to you and this
Yeah.
audience out there, but it's like
Yeah.
this is really you know this is the work. This is the work in manifesting. And it's like it doesn't always have to be. I'm trying to teach myself, that it doesn't always have to be such hard work.
Yeah.
But it's just interesting that, when you've had a pattern that is just comes up over and over and over again. And, this isn't the first time that I've worked with app developers who let me down. That's my story.
Right.
And
Yeah.
and so this has just been such a a good opportunity for me to like, okay, I'm back. Even after like I've been doing this now for 7, 8 years or more with app development. And it's like, okay, what am I getting out of all of this? What am I getting out of always being right that they've just always let me down? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. And so it's an opportunity to you know this is like all of these bad things that happen, they're just really an opportunity for us to go inside and say, okay, not to beat yourself up, because I'm not beating myself up over this. I'm just kind of like coming from a self-empowered place, like I don't have to live with this either. But
Yeah.
if I don't change something about myself, then this is what it's going to continue to be.
Right. Right. Now this makes me think, like we've all we've all got people in our lives that we would love to see them kind of come to these kind of epiphanies and help them along. Can we, as we're, we work on ourselves, of course, but is it possible that we manifest some something bad for someone else
Oh,
or something
yeah.
good?
I mean, it's most likely that you can't unless that is part of their that part of what they're manifesting. I would say it'd be more like a co-creation. They would
Mm,
almost have to be unconsciously asking for
mm,
that. But at the same time, could it happen? Like usually the stronger of the energy fields will win. So
mm.
if you want to, and I don't recommend trying to, I mean, you should never want to manifest something bad for someone else. So like if you're, we're really talking about unintentional, like intentional manifestation for somebody, something bad, that's out of the question. Shouldn't happen, shouldn't do it. You really there's so much bad karma that you would ever, get from trying to influence somebody. Or even like you get people that they intend for something to bad because they did something wrong to you. And so, or they did something wrong to somebody else. And so
Yeah.
you want to like send them bad vibes because, you're trying to right some kind of a wrong. But we're not God, and
Yeah.
so that's us trying to step into the role of playing God. And I don't think that that's any of our business on how somebody pays the price for anything that they've ever done that they deserve. You should never visualize. You should actually, if a person has done something that you want to punish them for and you want to manifest. Okay, so my speaker, I think, just changed to um my computer. So hopefully I can, yeah. Hang on, let me pause for a second. So as I was saying, shouldn't ever try to intend for something bad or visualize something bad or ever, try to punish a person in any way. And, and even I even like to take this as far as manifesting something bad for people. I'm very careful about, like, if I am having a hard time with something, or if I am not feeling really well or whatever, I'm really particular about who I might share that with, because
Mm,
I don't want people worrying about me,
mm,
because I feel like, if you have a massive amount of people worrying about you, well, worrying is no different than praying for something bad to happen. And if you
yeah.
have enough people doing that, it could have an impact. And so I really, just the same way as the power of positive prayer works to make people well, and usually the person who's getting well, though, they have an intention right alongside with the people. So I think it's very difficult to manifest something bad for somebody, but it should never be your intention. And and also understand that, if you're living with somebody, you're in the same household, you're working alongside somebody, you can have an impact on their state, and their state being impacted by your negative state could could manifest something bad for
Yeah.
them. Because it's like they weren't even aware that there so much bad stuff was happening in the world or whatever, and all you want to talk about is how bad it is and how bad traffic is and how bad inflation is and how bad gas is. Well, maybe I'm not being impacted by those things because I live in my own little bubble. And so when other people are talking about that thing, it's like, oh, well, that kind of sucks. That kind of brings me down. That kind of makes me feel like things are going to hell in a handbasket. I don't want to know about that. I don't want to hear about that. Not that I don't care, but I just don't want that to impact me, because I'm here to make a positive impact on other people's lives. So it doesn't do me good, to get like sucked into all the negative, stuff that's going on, because all that's going to do is just change uh, you know, my state. And I have a hard enough time with my own thoughts than having to deal with everybody else's negative thoughts.
It's so funny you say that, because I had a family member that we'd get on the phone, and I try not to watch the news, and they would say to me, "Did you hear about that whatever terrible event?" And I go, "Oh, no, I don't really pay attention to the news. I don't like that, to get all that negativity." And they'd go, "Oh, well," and then they tell me the whole thing. I was like, stop. I don't want to know. Um,
Weren't you listening?
exactly. So, I mean, you kind of, you've definitely, one of the other questions I had, I think you've sort of answered it, but there may be areas you want to fill in. You know, why do some people attract negativity even when they're trying to stay positive? Like you're a law of attraction. They're the law of attraction hypnotist. You're trying to stay positive. Why do you think that happened? That popped in there?
I think that so much of this is just happening from our patterns. Like I
Mm,
noticed in me, it was a pattern. Where patterns come from, they come from your subconscious mind, or and they actually just reinforce, each other. So the pattern, as the longer it keeps going, the more, even though you think you believe something else, it's in conflict with what you actually believe.
Mhm.
And so it's unnoticeable, it impacts our lives, it's happening at below the level of awareness. And so if your thoughts are always projecting on, oh, this bad thing always happens, you're focused on that lack, you're focused on that negativity, then you're bound to manifest those things that you don't want, even when you know that you should stay positive. You're trying to stay positive. You're focused. I'm going to be positive. I'm going to do my affirmations today. Today is going to be a great day. You listen to your positive music. You do all of that. But, to get to the bottom of all this, oh my God. I mean, it's just so funny how we're doing this today, because I did this self-exploration over the weekend with myself. So it's like perfect timing to talk about this, because that's what it's going to take. And I feel so much more empowered after I spent an hour recording this self-reflect. It
Mm.
was like a self-coaching exercise that I went through. It was gold. I actually let my husband listen to it. He's like, "Oh my God, Victoria, this is gold." Like,
Awesome.
he was so happy to hear me say all the things that I had said in there. And, so now if you're not able, I can do this for myself because I am a coach and I am a hypnotherapist and I've been working with people. And so I understand a little bit more how the brain works, because this is what my job is. So I can coach myself. Sometimes it goes beyond your ability to coach yourself,
Yeah.
especially if you're not one. And so that's when, maybe if this is something that's just you're having a hard time breaking through, you just kind of keep seeing the same results showing up over and over again. And, you just maybe, this is time for you to visit with a hypnotherapist or a coach, who can really ask you those questions, and hold a mirror for you, and hold that space for you, so that you can make that change, so you can understand and change those negative patterns.
That makes sense. And even, even those of us that are hypnotists and coaches and stuff, boy, I tell you, sometimes we just have blind areas and we just don't even realize it. And maybe we get lucky and we have this sort of an epiphany, and maybe we don't. We just keep going through life just not knowing what it is that's holding us
Yeah.
back.
I always, it's funny because I have like a love hate relationship a little bit with introducing people to the whole concept of personal growth,
Mm,
because here's the thing is, like, ignorance is bliss. It
true.
really is.
True. You're right. Yeah.
But, if you stay in that state, you're not gonna really, be able to, if you don't climb that mountain, you're never gonna be able to see the view from that mountain. But it's a it can be difficult along the way. You can fall down, there's risks, takes energy, it takes work. Sometimes you have to, like, train yourself to be able to climb that mountain, and any other kind of metaphor that you can, think of. If you
Yeah.
want to just kind of stay and walk around, the mountain, all you're going to do is just walk around in circles, and you're never going to be able to see a new view. And, but it's hard. It's hard work to get to the top of the mountain sometimes. And so like I said, sometimes I feel almost guilty when I introduce people to this world, because this world is going to wake you up, and it's going to take you out of that ignorance is bliss. And sometimes it's not so blissful.
Yeah.
um but it's worth it. And
Hmm.
because you can achieve so much more when you have self-awareness. And so I highly encourage anybody who's, I mean, I'm pretty sure that most of the audience here, that's listening to something like the Power of Your Mind podcast, you guys are all pretty self-aware people. And, but, if you're stuck in a place where you're just kind of going around in circles and dealing with the same thing over and over again, that would be my suggestion. Either do something different to do some self exploration, Sit with yourself in a meditation for an hour and ask yourself this question, or do some journaling, or and if you're not getting anywhere with yourself, then like I said, it's time to reach out. And no one's too good, big, smart, intelligent, has it all together enough that they can't reach out for support. Yeah, I think even Tony Robbins probably has his own coach that he reaches out to.
Sure. Yeah.
Everybody has somebody that they can reach out to, and so that would be my recommendation.
Awesome. Hey, thanks a lot, everybody, for listening today, for watching. Those of you that watched, um, I do want to just let you know. We've had people that have commented. You left really nice reviews, and also, told us, and either in person or, Facebook comments and stuff, that the podcast has had an impact on their life. Please share those with us. I mean, it really does make our day. It really does. Please let us know. Victoria.
Yeah, I love that too. It's always fun that I find out people first learned about things, all the things Victoria, about my app and things like that from listening to the Power of Your Mind podcast. So it's great, and it's so great to hear these stories about how it's impacting people. And so let us know how it's impacting you. Definitely leave a comment for us on the podcast, on this video. If you're watching it on YouTube, be sure to subscribe to the Power of Your Mind podcast. That way you will immediately get the notification as soon as it comes out. Usually, do it once a week. Have been kind of thinking about possibly adding another day of the week. I don't know. I'm always coming up with new ideas. But if you did find value in today's show, then please do share it with your friends. Be sure to leave a review. Starting last November, if I'm going to offer you a chance to win a custom hypnosis session every month. All you have to do is leave a review, send me a screenshot of your review, and also I have a free gift for you, for our listeners, called Manifest Wealth Meditation. All you have to do to get that is go to victoriamgallagher.com/free-gift, and you can download it there. And if there's any other topics you'd like me to discuss on law of attraction, manifesting, just any other spins on that, we have plenty. But if there's something you're dying to know about, let us know. You can email me at victoriamgallagher.com. Make a suggestion. Love to hear what you'd like to know about. And of course, as always, please be sure to download my Hypno Cloud app, or whatever the other new app is called. You guys might know by now, for some amazing law of attraction and manifesting self hypnosis sessions. And be sure to tune in next week for another amazing episode of the Power of Your Mind podcast. Thank you, Jim, for being an amazing co host. Thank you, listeners, for listening, tuning in. And I look forward to seeing y'all next week. Until then, happy manifesting.